Hey everybody, I want to thank you all for coming here today for this press conference. You know, Wyoming is a state that's vast in its geography, so the press can't always make everything, every event that we hold or every press conference that takes place locally. So what we're going to do is one of the world's first Wyoming modern press conferences, and we're going to stream it on Facebook Live. And so hopefully we've got members of the press and the media from around the state who are able to go onto our Facebook Live account and watch this and ask questions and type questions in along with the people that are here in the room today as well. So I thank you for coming, and I thank you for paying attention to what I think is incredibly important, which is a U.S. Senate race. And I do have a prepared statement and some prepared remarks that I want to start with, and then I'll be happy to take questions. Elections are job performance reviews for incumbents and job interviews for challengers. And I want to bring to your attention some of the important aspects that I think are critical in this election that maybe haven't been brought to the fore yet. My opponent, John Barrasso, has clearly chosen a political strategy of minimizing his exposure to the citizens of the state of Wyoming and the people that he's supposed to be representing. Going to UW football games and to select photo ops isn't enough. And he thinks that's the way to get reelected. And you know what, that may be true. I don't know. Maybe that is the right political strategy, but it's certainly not how you carry out your obligation as a public servant to serve your constituents. It's craven and it's dismissive of the people of Wyoming, all of the people. And by the way, this is not something that's normal. In Senate races around the country, in Texas, they're having multiple debates. In Virginia, they just finished the second of the 3 debates that are planned. This isn't the way that candidates and incumbents normally do the process. They don't avoid the people in their state. It's just not right. So openly addressing and answering questions from constituents is the obligation of every single public servant. And unless they don't want to hear from the people to answer questions that they have on their behalf, you know, that's the action you take. Is if you don't want to hear from people, you don't show. And this is what happens when you've been in DC too long. It's what we're calling the DC Playbook. You think the best strategy to win is actually to not interact with your constituents. And my question is, how does that help the people of Wyoming, who are worrying about medical bills, layoffs, access to their public lands, and corruption in both parties? How does that help to not show up and answer questions in an open and honest forum? It clearly doesn't. So that's the most important thing that I want to get off my chest here today and talk about, is the importance of open discourse and letting the people of Wyoming know where you stand, whether you're a challenger or whether you're an incumbent. Super important. You know, the second thing that I want to talk about is that Senator Brasso likes to align himself with the president. But what I'd like to do is tell you what the president actually ran on and what has or hasn't happened on those issues. And I've got a handout that people here today have gotten. It's called What the President Ran On. So let me start with this. The president ran on lowering drug prices for seniors. He ran on a $1 trillion infrastructure program to keep our economy competitive. He ran on better health care for everyone. He ran on higher taxes on the wealthy so they'd pay their fair share, and making sure that hedge fund managers in New York pay just as much as regular people here in Wyoming. He ran on protecting Social Security and Medicare and not raising the age limit. He ran on draining the swamp, but he ran on some very specific things in draining the swamp. He ran on term limits. He ran on stopping the revolving door between Congress and lobbyists, and he ran on getting foreign money out of campaigns. I'm here to tell you today, I am for every single one of those things. But what has the Senate done on these issues? And John Barrasso? Nothing. I read a quote from Senator Brasso in the Gillette newspaper not that long ago. I'm going to quote him here. He said, quote, "I wake up every day, whether I'm in Washington or Wyoming, and I think, what can I do to help the people of Wyoming?" Really? I think that's laughable. And let me tell you why. Here's a few simple ideas. How about helping the people of Wyoming by lowering drug prices for Wyoming seniors and for all Americans? Why are drug prices for seniors higher than they should be? I think literally there's not one single person in the state of Wyoming who wants seniors to pay more for their drugs because Congress has passed a law that says Medicare can't negotiate drug prices with big drug companies. And I think the only place you need to go to find out the answer to that question about why Senator Brasso hasn't done anything is check out his contributions from Big Pharma. Because I don't think Big Pharma puts Wyoming first. He's gotten contributions in just this cycle alone from 34 large drug companies. I don't think that he's going to lower drug prices when he's gotten those kind of contributions. How about solving the unfair tax burden that we have? Why do hedge fund managers on Wall Street pay lower tax rates than Wyoming teachers, miners, and ranchers? There's absolutely nobody, I think, in the state of Wyoming who wants that to be the case. But why is that? Just go look at the contributions Senator Brasso gets from the finance industry. Because I don't think the finance industry puts Wyoming first. He's gotten contributions in just this cycle alone from 21 investment banking firms, from 11 big banks, and from 34 insurance institutions, financial institutions, a total of 66 financial and investment institutions that are giving him money. Do you really think he's going to go out there and try and make sure that Wyoming teachers, miners, and ranchers are paying lower tax rates than the hedge fund managers that are paying lower rates right now? I don't think so. How about making healthcare more affordable and accessible for everybody, for all of us, all Wyomingites? Why are Wyoming's healthcare premiums the highest in the country, and they're going up this cycle, while in other states, healthcare premiums are actually going down? Why is that the case? Well, you know what? We don't have a lot of competition in the state. We only have one insurer. But it's also the case when the federal government and Congress and John Barrasso have done everything in their power to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, to get rid of existing protections for pre-existing conditions, and to make it actually more expensive. If you go talk to CEOs of Blue Cross Blue Shield and other companies, they will tell you the reason prices are going up is uncertainty. It's because the law keeps changing and because we're getting rid of provisions in the Affordable Care Act to protect people, and they've got to protect their companies. And why is that? Well, let's just go look at the contributions that Senator Brasso has gotten from the health insurance industry. He's gotten contributions from 35 different PACs of physicians and medical providers. He's gotten contributions from 12 different corporate PACs of health insurers. That's 47 different entities that are trying to protect their turf and not make sure that Wyomingites have cheaper and more affordable health care. So why hasn't the senator supported any of this again? Well, I think $5.8 million of corporate PAC money over his career tells the story. Look, I am in total agreement with Senator Al Simpson, former Senator Al Simpson. He said corporations are not people and money is not speech. And he's right. He is absolutely right. And I'm a business guy. I've been a business guy my entire life. I have no problem with the private sector whatsoever. The free market system has done a great job of creating jobs, but there are inequities in the system as well. But at the end of the day, any company that I've run and every company in the country has two narrow goals. They want to sell their product and service, and they want to make money. End of story. That is fine. They're entitled to do that. That's our system. But they shouldn't be the ones that guide our public policy when it comes to helping people in Wyoming or people in this country. So right now, there's a number of ways for the senator to talk with people in Wyoming. But he's only committed to one debate very late in the cycle, October 25th, up in Sheridan. He's been asked by numerous community groups, organizations in their community that want to schedule debates. And when we say we're absolutely open to it, and what the response I hear from these community organizations in their local communities in Rawlins and other places is we haven't had any response from Senator Brasso's campaign. They haven't even gotten back to us. So is that an acceptable thing for a public servant to do? Is that the two-way street between public servant and the people that he represents? No, I don't think so, and frankly, I think he's actually playing us all for fools. That's wrong. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and make it easy for Senator Brasso, the man of the people, to connect with his constituents. Because in Wyoming, we're a small state, you should be able to talk to everybody. And I want the people to know what I am for, not just what I'm against. What I'm for is country before party and putting families first. Family issues, jobs, healthcare, education, access to public lands, and getting rid of the corruption and making sure that we have an economy that works for all Americans, not just the top 1%. So since I want people to know what I've been for, I've been going on Facebook Live every Sunday night, 5:30 Mountain Time, and for half an hour I answer questions from anybody who wants to ask them on any subject, on anything that that comes to their mind. And I give them an honest answer. I don't pre-screen questions. I don't plant people in the audience. We answer anyone's question. Easy, tough, doesn't matter. And Senator Brasso can do that as well. So I'm going to invite him to come on Facebook Live with me every Sunday, or any Sunday that he wants to do that, to answer questions from people of Wyoming. Open questions from anyone who wants to ask, supporters or skeptics alike. And you know what? It's easy to do. My team can help set it up. And here's the really interesting part. The senator doesn't even have to be here in person. Technology is an amazing thing. He can, you know what, if he feels like he's more comfortable in Washington, D.C., and it's more important for him to be in Washington, D.C., and he doesn't want to show up at local community forums, you know what, we can set it up so he can do it from his office or wherever he wants to do it in Washington, and I'll do it in front of the people of wherever community I'm in, and we can answer questions from anybody at any time. So what I'd like to do really right now, I hope there's maybe someone out there, is I'd like to show you all how this works, because it's pretty simple. So maybe the first thing we can do is try and take a question from someone out in the audience on Facebook Live. Do we have any questions?
Yeah.